Football season is over, and as we turn our attention to the ice and hardwood, what better two handicappers to bet along with than Dave Koken in the NHL and Brian Leonard in college basketball? Up 128% in profit, that is a combined bankroll increase from Brian Leonard at 70% in college basketball and Dave Koken 58% in the NHL this season. For a limited time, we have a special offer to lock in Brian's college hoops through the Final Four and National Championship and Dave's NHL through the Stanley Cup in June for only $479. This special price locks in two handicappers, two sports, through the championship in both sports for $209, less than buying each season individually, and $1,000 less than purchasing daily packages from now through June.
Good morning, guys. Happy Thursday. Welcome in to WagerTalk TV. You're watching Puck Time. I'm Andrew McInnis. I have Carmine and Bianco with me and Brian Leonard here in his usual Thursday spot. Before today's show begins, I just want to start off by being fully transparent and unfortunately just bringing up the loss I had yesterday on the 5%. I was 15-3 my last 18 5%, guys. It was 7 straight winners. And last night was just not my night. I just want to say thank you to all of you guys for the support you showed me this season in the NHL or just in general with all sports. Unfortunately, we cannot hit them all, but I promise you, I will not hide. I'll come on here and discuss it. I will tweet out if a loss happens. You will not see me sign off and go watch Netflix and just avoid Twitter for the night. I will tweet it out. I will let you guys know I lost, and we will bounce back today. We have some good games on board today. Always love Thursdays having Brian Leonard on. And, of course, we got some best bets at the end of the show. So, Carmine, I'll go to you, man. How was your night last night?
Night was good. I'm glad to be here today because, as you know, guys in the production, I had an early doctor's appointment, and the weather in north of Toronto is absolutely horrible. Rainy, windy, snow in the forecast. Pretty much everyone forgets how to drive, and I'm hopped up on drugs, not the illegal stuff, but injections in my lower back, boys. About 18 needles this morning in my lower back, but I'm good to be here. Happy to be here. 2-1 last night in the NHL. The only loser on the card for me was that same Vegas over. You know, watching the two games yesterday, the Carolina Florida game and this Vegas Colorado game. My God, that just seemed like playoff hockey is already here. Two fantastic games, low scoring games, but very good games. And now just looking forward to the rest of the week. Brian, you're up. What's going on, man?
How's it going, guys? Carmine lives such a wonderful life that even when he goes to the doctor, he gets 18 shots. What a guy. That guy's a major drinker. I had, you mentioned the Colorado game. The good news is I had Colorado, clients had Colorado. Bad news is the Knights offense did not look good. I figured it would struggle a little bit with Eichel in there and without Stone the first game, and it showed. Eichel wasn't the way he normally would be, and you could tell that. He'd fumble in a lot of pucks, and I think that hurt the Vegas offense. But that's afterwards. Beforehand, I don't think I would have felt that way. But Colorado was good to us yesterday, and that's one hell of a team. They're going to be tough to beat in the NHL playoffs.
They are going to be tough to beat. They're a strong, strong team, just from top to bottom, really. And it just goes to show, Brian, as much as I'm disappointed off that loser from you on the over, and congrats to you on the side play there, it goes to show that they can't only win high scoring games. They can win games of all magnitude, you know, lower scoring, higher scoring, every which way. And that's what's so dangerous about them. It definitely seems like they're on board for a really, really good season and a deep playoff run. And also the goaltending for them. That was kind of a worry for me. And a lot of people were kind of talking about, should Marc-Andre Fleury go there? Should other goalies, be sent that way? Darcy Kemper is playing his best hockey we've seen him play right now. And I'm impressed with that. But let's start things off with our first game, guys. Let's dive right into it. Lots of hockey to discuss on this show. Lots of good games to get into. The Toronto Maple Leafs -150 at home here against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh plus 130 on the road. Total is at 6 in this game. Always a good one when these two teams go head to head here. Carm, I'll start with you for your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, Andrew, this is it's a tough one. First of all, before I get into this, I'm just going to make something perfectly clear, guys. I believe in free speech. I believe in our chat is a bunch of great guys, but we will not allow racist or homophobic stuff posted in the chat. Someone got tossed. I tossed them from the channel. Any of that stuff gets posted, we are going to get rid of it. You want to talk sports? That's what we're here to talk about. Anyways, with that said, Andrew, let's get into this. Pittsburgh's had the Leafs number. I really thought after that 7-1 beating that Pittsburgh gave the Leafs, they played, I think, a week later in Toronto on a Saturday night. And I had the Leafs on that night. I thought a great revenge spot. They're not going to forget that beating in Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh came in and absolutely shut down the Leafs. So they shut down every single line. They beat them 2-0 in that game. This is a Pittsburgh team that can play some defense. And this is a team that Toronto could meet in the playoffs. They need to send a message. I'm not quite sure they send that message. This is why that line is where it is right now. You don't see the Leafs very often at minus 150 at home. It's a line that almost screams bet Toronto, bet Toronto. I don't want to do it. The Leafs are coming home off a road trip. You know how I like to fade teams off of road trips. Can the Leafs can Pittsburgh beat Toronto 3 in a row, including twice in Toronto? Sure, they can. On any given night, any team can beat another team. We see it all year long in an 82-game schedule. It should be Jari and net tonight. Campbell is confirmed. He's the only goalie confirmed of the two tonight. And while Pittsburgh played a sloppy one last time out at home against the Flyers, they still got it done. The team can score. I'm going to take Pittsburgh as a small dog here. I just think the line screams bet Toronto, and sometimes when it does, I want to go the other way. So for me, it is the Leafs. I have no opinion on the total here. Brian?
Interesting that you say screams Toronto. I look at the line and it screams Pittsburgh in that regard. Pittsburgh's won 4 straight games, and you mentioned how they've done well against Toronto. I think the game's more important for Toronto. When you're playing a team, Pittsburgh right now, I believe, is in first place. When you're playing a team of that regard, you need to come out and play well against them, especially if you've lost the first 2 times. So from that kind of standpoint, I think Toronto is the side in this game. And I went back and looked at Pittsburgh. I think they peaked a little bit earlier. Sure, they've won the last 4 games, but they beat Boston, shorthanded Boston team. They beat Ottawa. They only scored 2 goals in that game. Then they beat New Jersey. Last time out, they were losing to Philadelphia. Big rivalry there. I remember that from living back in Cleveland, that Pittsburgh and Philadelphia in any sport are huge rivalries. And Philadelphia got that early lead in that game, and Pittsburgh had to fight back and win that game in overtime. I don't think Pittsburgh's playing as well as what their record is stating right now. I thought they played a little bit better at the end of last month. So I think we're getting some of that residual value here on Pittsburgh being priced a little bit higher than what they think they should be. Toronto, to me, is the better team. I hate to say it without the Prez sitting there listening to me, because he doesn't get enough of this on this show. But Toronto's a very good team, and it's a quality spot here for them. I like them a little bit better here. And when you take a look at what they did on their last road trip, they go to Calgary, lose that game 5-2. Go to Vancouver, lose that game 3-2, and then they woke up a little bit against Seattle, a team that I seem to like a little bit more than you guys do, but they win that game 6-2. So it's a little bit of a wake-up call after losing the last 2 games. I think possibly it's a situation for Toronto here against Pittsburgh that they had a little bit of a wake-up call after losing twice on the road to Vancouver and Calgary. Now they're back home, play a couple of games, play St. Louis on Saturday, I believe. But I think the line's a little bit short here for Toronto. And as you mentioned, it's a situation for me where I looked at this line and I said, man, Pittsburgh, as good as they're playing, you're able to get them in this spot. I'm looking at it quite the other way for basically the same reason as you are, Carm.
Yeah, listen, before Andrew jumps in on this, it's one of those things. Sometimes I see a number but I look at it one way only. And I get it. You have to be objective and look at it and say, I guess with a different lens and say, the Penguins are playing so well and they've already beaten the Leafs a couple times. Why are they such juicy odds, plus money on the Pens, who I think are first in the, I believe they're first in the East. So yeah, I get it. It's the same as in any sport where you see a number. Like college football, where you see a ranked team as an underdog to an unranked team, and you're like, I think I need to jump on that unranked team. The number's there for a reason. So yeah, I get it. It's looking through a different lens. Andrew.
Well, I just want to ask Brian. I'm going to channel my inner Teddy Covers for a second with the kind of the rebuttal question here. How much do you care about matchup history between two teams? Does that matter to you in your handicap, or is every game kind of its own handicap? Looking at the last head-to-head, obviously I've seen Toronto averaging 1.6 goals per game last 3 games in these meetings. Power play hasn't done well. Penalty kill hasn't done well. But obviously that's only a 3-game scale I'm using right now. Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, it definitely does. It's a small sample size. Um, I think a lot of people, when they look at this going into the playoffs, that's a mistake that a lot of people do when they get to the playoffs is they don't, let's say one team might have gone 4-0 against the opposition and they think it's going to be a walkthrough. You got to go through the scheduling situations and the injury situations of those teams during the regular season. Um, so many times in hockey, you've got your different lines, and sometimes they don't always match up. So I definitely take that into account. Some teams are better than others, and I prefer it on a more of a smaller schedule thing. If you go back like 10 years and you got so many players coming in and out, that's one thing, different coaches,
Sure.
but it doesn't make a difference. But I think this is a statement game for Toronto. Now, if Toronto comes out and doesn't play well here, that's something to keep in mind in case these teams do meet in the playoffs. But you would have to go back and see what the circumstances were. Were they in second of a back-to-back, third game in 4 days, that kind of thing. But yeah, I always try to keep that into account. And unlike Marco, I don't mind it when somebody throws something like that, like Teddy likes to do. It gives me more reason to think about the games, and that's one of the reasons why I like to be on this show. Is we all think differently, and I try to get some value out of talking and listening to you two.
I completely agree, and I'm not asking any questions ever to try and be a smartass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking to try and learn and understand, because some people don't care about matchup stuff because every game is a new game, and I feel like out of every sport, hockey might be that sport where, like you said, there's so many different situations and travel spots and things going on. Um, but for me, my personal thoughts on this game is just it's going to be potentially a stay away for me, but um, I think that although that we've seen Pittsburgh play well defensively, and we have seen good defensemen, good defense from the Leafs, on a large scale this year. I like the over 6 in this one. That last game Pittsburgh played in, I know they don't usually have 2 duds defensively in a row, so to speak, but they had to come back against Philadelphia. They scored like 2 goals in a minute span, and then they won in overtime. Sid scored his 500th. There was a big night in Pittsburgh, but that was a sloppy game for the Penguins, and the thing is, you look at Toronto, their last 10 games scale, I don't really know who they've beat that's impressed me. The New York Islanders, they didn't impress me. The Anaheim Ducks, they should beat them. Detroit, they should beat them. The Devils twice. Yeah, sure. Carolina, okay, that's a pretty good one. But those 2 losses to Vancouver and Calgary to start off that road trip didn't sit well with me. And I think that the entire world of sports bettors that bet on hockey had some type of play on the Maple Leafs in that game against Seattle. Personally, I had the team total. I know Prez had a 5% play on the Leafs in regulation. So now we'll see how they can play against one of the best teams in the East back at home. First game back after that road trip. I expect goals in this one. So I'll stay out of the side here, fellas, and I'll just think I see some goals tonight in this game. Over 6 is the play for me. Brian, I'm going to go to you for our next game with the Anaheim Ducks and the Edmonton Oilers. I had a huge rant, Brian, on the show the other day about coaching changes. We've got Edmonton minus 225 tonight, the Ducks plus 185, total 6.5 here. And my rant was pretty much this. I always find that coaching changes to me it's all just like a momentum based thing. It's a mental thing. I mean, what do these coaches actually say in one day that everybody makes a huge deal out of it? Oh, it's a new coach. It's a new coach. Everything's going to change. Everything's going to be so much better now. It's all about a new voice in the room. And right now, Edmonton, they don't have Tippett there anymore. He's gone. And they've done well since they've had a new head coach. It's just been Frank. I mean, he has been a good voice in the room, it seemed. But how much credit do you really give to a coach like that? Because I'm the one. I'm not trying to dismiss what coaches do, but with Bruce Boudreau, he didn't even get a practice for like 6 days. I mean, it was a wake-up call for the players. I don't think Bruce Boudreau was teaching these guys how to play hockey again for the Vancouver Canucks. So I think the Oilers are playing better hockey right now. Obviously, it's a big price. What are your thoughts in this game?
Yeah, I agree. The coaches, it all depends on if the coaches are coming from the organization or outside the organization. I think you have to treat it a little bit differently. Sometimes they'll have one of the assistants take over and become the interim at that point. But when you're bringing in a new coach, nothing is changing on the way you play at that point, or you're just trying to impress the new coach. If you're one of the guys who doesn't get a lot of playing time, you're on the fourth string or whatever, you're going to give that extra effort to go out there and prove something to him, because really he hasn't been around you. He doesn't know how you play, and you may have been in the doghouse for one of many reasons with the prior coaching staff. I think that's what it is. It's more of a situation where, as you pointed out, it's a jump start for these players, and a lot of times you will find players that really like a coach, and the coach gets fired, and they blame it on themselves, obviously. And they said, okay, this guy should never have gone. We got to come out and play well. It cost one of our friends, a guy that we respected, their job. So it's something that you really have to take a look at. And I think that's what Edmonton is. And to be totally honest with you, I think we all know that Edmonton was a good hockey team. They just hadn't put it all together this season. So for them to come out and play much better under the new coach, that makes a lot of sense to me. Vancouver was a team, as you mentioned, that was much better than what they showed earlier in the season. So you see a lot of that in the NHL and many other sports, and it has taken an effect here. Now, the question you have to ask yourself, at least when I handicap this game, is what is more valuable, having the Anaheim Ducks rested? They've only played 2 games all month. Their first game wasn't until the 11th, and they played on the 16th, which was yesterday, against a red-hot Calgary team. They lose that game 6-2. They lose to Seattle the first game back. So now they've got a couple games under their belt, and they're back playing normal hockey. But they had a lot of time off before that Seattle loss, 4-3. And you take a look at Edmonton, you go back, just from the 8th on, this will be their 6th game in 10 days? So it's a situation for Edmonton. Yes, they're playing much better, but they're a little tired. 3rd game in 4 days, 6th game in 10 days. So Anaheim's going to be the fresher team, even though they did play yesterday. So when I'm looking at this as a handicapping situation, that's one of the things I have to look at is the situation of how much rest you have, and is that a positive or a negative? Anaheim's a team that started the year very strong. They were very good out of the gate, took a lot of people by surprise. I thought they'd be a little bit better, but then they had the streak where they just were not playing well. I think coming out of that 11 days off, they've lost 2 games, but I expect them to come back and probably play 500 ball the rest of the season. You got a team here in Edmonton, 3rd game in 4 days. Defense has really played well for Edmonton lately. After giving up 4 to the Knights in Chicago, they give up 1 to the Islanders, shut out San Jose, and only gave up 2 to the Kings. If this team in Edmonton could play defense, they can win this division. They could make a nice run in the playoffs, because that's the problem with them. They've had to outscore teams. If something has happened, something has clicked in that locker room, now that they're playing better defense, I don't want to stand in front of them. The problem is, of course, the line in this game, laying 220, 225. Don't know if I can get here in this game. They're just about to go on the road and play Winnipeg before coming back to Minnesota. So just a 1-game trip ahead of time in 2 days. But I like Edmonton here. Don't know if I'll get there. The line's a little bit too high for me. I think we learn more about the future of Anaheim in this game. If they can play this game tight, I think Anaheim may be a team that we can buy on for the next week or so.
Yeah, we'll learn a lot out of them for tonight's game, like you mentioned. Edmonton playing much better defensive hockey. Um, really just kind of trapping that neutral zone quite a bit. And like Brian said, if they don't have to play first to 4 or first to 5 wins, they're a dangerous, dangerous team. What are your thoughts in this game?
Yeah, they are playing good, and one of my concerns would be the 3 games in 4 nights. But Andrew, the coaching changes has done wonders for this team. I don't know what it is. It's one of those things where when things are going bad, and things were going bad for this Edmonton Oilers team for a while, that losing streak was one that they haven't experienced in a long time. Obviously, issues with their goaltending, and when you have a coach like Tippett, everything he did in that dressing room didn't work. And with every loss, players stop listening. It just happens. It's like regurgitated information. They just don't want to hear it. But the minute you make that coaching change, and Holland did, the next step is players moving, and that's going to happen. And now they're winning, and they're playing well. The thing that concerns me here about Anaheim is, they played last night. Uh, they chased Gibson in that game. Stollarts is supposed to start tonight, but he came in that game as well too. So I don't know if they go back to Gibby and give him another shot, or if they stick with their original plan, which was Gibson last night and Stollarts tonight. Anaheim had trouble dealing with the Calgary speed, and we talked about it yesterday. Calgary is just having fun on the ice right now. Win streaks do that, and they're scoring goals. You know who else can score goals? Edmonton. You know who else has speed? Edmonton. It's just the Alberta double has become so much tougher this year than in years past, because both these teams right now are playing some very good hockey. I get the price on Anaheim. It's high. It's supposed to be high. Edmonton is winning. Anaheim isn't. And Anaheim is on the second of a back-to-back. I don't fault you if you want to take a shot on the Ducks. I can't. I'm going to stick with Edmonton here, but the price is so high that you have to tie it into, unless you find a different way of betting it, you have to tie it into, maybe tie it into a parlay with the Rangers. And you're going to get about plus 125 on your money, a 2-teamer, Rangers and the Oilers. If you like the Rangers to beat the Red Wings tonight, and you think Edmonton's going to win tonight, you get plus 125 on your money. You put them into a parlay. I think this is a game Edmonton needs to win to keep that momentum going. They've got 5 really tough games coming up. They've got Winnipeg, Minnesota, and then they face Tampa Bay, Florida, and Carolina. Those are toughies, and is going to test this Edmonton team and see how good they really are, or how far they've come along. I think you need to bank another win before you play those 5 games. So for me, it's the Oilers. I'm not playing that money line. I'll probably tie it into the Rangers in a play. It looks like it's going to be Smith tonight. No goalies named as of yet. I think they want to get Smith going. They want to see if this guy is going to be their number one before the trade deadline comes. Interesting thing about the trade deadline, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but I kept talking about find a way of getting Fleury from Chicago to Edmonton, and maybe that's through a trade with Arizona to pick up salary. Andrew, the interesting thing is the Washington Capitals, I read this yesterday, the Washington Capitals have tried on 3 or 4 different occasions this year to get Fleury from Chicago. And Fleury has said no, because he has that trade clause in his contract. He does not want to go to Washington. He's a Pittsburgh guy at heart, right? So he's in Chicago right now. He's not going to go to a direct rival of his originating team, the Pittsburgh Penguins. So kudos to him on that. I'd love to see him in Edmonton. But anyways, those are my thoughts on the game.
I'll tell you what, just on like a personal thing for Marc-Andre Fleury, if he gets moved or if he decides to waive his no trade clause, I hope the team he goes to makes it out of that first round. Please don't make this guy leave his family or move his family again, and then they get, Edmonton gets knocked out of the first round or whoever they go to. But real quick, I just want to make a point here. Is there a goaltending problem in Anaheim right now? Is there a goaltending and defense issue in Anaheim right now? Because oftentimes we talk about the expected goal numbers, and we use the expression puck luck, and we were discussing with Brian before too about how we're not calling it actual luck. We're calling it just the way hockey is. Sometimes a puck can just bounce in the right way. Anaheim had Stolars and Gibson just stand on their head for the entire year. Last year as well. They also had Trevor Zegras playing outstanding, Troy Terry on like an 18-game point streak. But if you look at the team scoring on them right now on a large scale, last 15, 20 games even, they're allowing goals, and they're allowing goals above average. I mean, this goaltending tandem has definitely fallen off a little bit. And if I was looking at this game, this would be a game where it could be a sneaky team total here on the Edmonton Oilers over 3.5. I believe they could get there. I think that game against LA was a good one, but they didn't even play their best hockey and they scored 5 goals. So just a real quick thought there on that one, as I do think they could, have a pretty good game in that one. The Boston Bruins and the Washington Capitals and the Philadelphia Flyers. That's our next one we are going to discuss. And as I mentioned, guys, earlier in this show, the Philadelphia Flyers are the team that blew that lead to the Pittsburgh Penguins, but they have finally found the back of the net. They have found a little bit of a scoring touch. They are plus 155 at home here in this one. Washington minus 175 on the road. And look, I've said that I kind of want to see Washington go on a roll a little bit, pick things up, if you will. But I haven't really seen them go on that roll, Brian. What are your thoughts on this game? And do you expect that like I am? I mean, I just think Washington hasn't really played to their potential over the past little while here.
Yeah, they started the year on fire, and they were extremely good. Then they were dealing with some injuries, and they weren't playing as well. But this is a team that's been very good on the road all season long. You take a look at their last 4 road games, they've outscored the opposition by 12 goals, and that includes games against Dallas, Pittsburgh, and Nashville. So they're playing pretty well. They did lose to Edmonton, did lose to Columbus, which was a shocker to me, and then Ottawa. So the road games have been much better for Washington on the season. You expect the home games to make a little difference, but the team plays a lot of. They've got a veteran team plays very good on the road. They're playing against a Philadelphia team here who I'm looking to fade at all costs. Philadelphia right now just has not played well all season long. I probably made more money going against Philadelphia since I've been betting hockey than any other team. And that loss to Pittsburgh the other day, as much as they came off, they lost to Detroit twice before that. You would figure after that they would come out and really play strong against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And they started off and they were very, very good in that game. And then for Pittsburgh to come back and take that game to overtime and beat them, that's pretty heartbreaking for this team in Philadelphia. They have not played very well at home all season long. Haven't played good on the road either. But this is a weak team in Philadelphia. I'm looking to fade here. Sure, the line's a little bit high on the road favorite here, but I'm pretty confident in Washington in this contest. This is a team coming out of the All-Star break. I think they're going to make a run now. I like to play these teams that have the playoff experience that maybe had not played well going into the All-Star break to come out afterwards and put it all together. I think Washington's going to get on a nice run here. You got Philadelphia. They're going to be playing Washington actually at home twice in the next 10 days. They're going to have a nice 4-game homestand here, but I can't trust them playing at home. I like Washington here. Yes, you're right. Philadelphia's averaged about 3 goals this month, which is better than what they've been doing. But I don't think defensively they're very good. Gave up 4 to Detroit, 6 to Detroit, and then gave up the 5 in overtime to Pittsburgh. So I think Washington will get some goals here. I expect Washington to score 4 in this game, which means I'm on Washington, and I'll lay the 175 on the road here.
Yeah, Brian, I don't like getting upwards of past kind of 160, but this would be a game I would do it. I'm comfortable with that price. I would comfortably lay that, and just I don't know. I would hate to lay the regulation in this one and then watch the Capitals win in OT. So this is a rare one for me where I'd be happy with the minus 170, 175 here in this one. But Carm, I figured you'd get a kick out of this. I was super excited about the Penguins comeback the other day. And I watched the game and I wanted to see Sidney Crosby get the 500th goal and stuff. And I had a 2-teamer with my clients with the Penguins. And I tweeted out just like all excited. I was like, the Pittsburgh Penguins are an absolute wagon. Like, they're such a solid team. And Matt Josephs, who's obviously a Philadelphia guy, he replies back. He's like, settle down, Andrew. It's only the Flyers, man. Settle. He just calms me right down. He's like, settle down, man. He's like, you could score a goal on. I was like, come on, Matt. They just had like a 3-goal comeback, but he didn't really care. But was that the glory for the Philadelphia Flyers, Carm? That mini lead they had against their rival, and then it was kind of gone. I mean, are you with us here? It's a pretty good spot here for the Capitals.
Yeah, it's the mini lead. It kind of reminds me of our fearless leader, Johnny Detroit, in his office, and he talks about the Lions as well. And he posted a picture of, obviously it's a fake picture of the Detroit Lions lifting up a banner, hanging a banner in their stadium that says our former quarterback won a Super Bowl, right? It's one of those things. The Flyers are celebrating having a lead. I have to agree with Brian. They're a hot mess right now. And watching that, I watched that Washington Nashville game. I like to watch teams that I think are good teams that are that look like they're struggling to find a game that signals that they're going to go on a win streak. And they played extremely well against Nashville in Nashville, winning that game. And maybe that is a signal that there is a win streak ahead for this Washington team. They are a good team. To Brian's point, they are very good on the road. You look at their last 10, they're 7-2-1. Their last 10, they play extremely well on the road. And they've got, you look at what they've got ahead of them. They've got the Rangers, the Flyers again, the Leafs, and Carolina. While some of those games look like they're tough ones, they've beaten Carolina on the road. They've beaten Dallas on the road. They've gone into Pittsburgh and beaten a good Pittsburgh team on the road. They're playing good teams well on the road. The only thing I don't like about not this game, but what follows is the fact that Washington wins tonight. You just want to get right back on them again. They're going to have 6 days off. They're not going to play again until the 24th. 6 days off. I want to see a team play the next night or 2 nights later. Sometimes that short little layoff hurts a team. We'll see if it does or doesn't in this case. But I agree with both you guys. Washington's the play here.
We have one more game to get into real quick, guys. Kind of short on time. My apologies for that one. A couple probably rants on my part, a little bit too many maybe. But we have the Boston Bruins and the New York Islanders. Before we jump into best bets, this game actually will be in my best bet. So I'll take a backseat and just throw it to you guys in this one. It's a pick'em game, minus 110 apiece. Total's at 5.5. I'll hand the mic to you here, Carm.
Who put this game on the schedule again? The New York Islanders. I looked at the games and I'm like, let me find a game where the line is low, where you can make a point for either team winning the game, and then we'll just leave it at that instead of discussing minus 300 teams all the time. Plus, Buster's not here, so I didn't put the St. Louis Montreal game on tonight's schedule. But you look at the Islanders, and it's the same thing. It might be time to give up on them. I watched the game against the Sabres, and Buffalo dominated that game. Buffalo doesn't dominate a lot of teams. They dominated the New York Islanders in that game, in my opinion. And that was with Sorokin in net for the Isles, and he's supposed to be in net tonight. He's listed as the expected goalie. Allmark is the confirmed goalie for the Bruins. Can they win at home? Sure, they can win at home. The Islanders, they've got a ton of talent on that team, and you got the Bruins coming in, and obviously you have the suspension and the injury. I believe Marchand's still suspended. Bergeron is questionable whether he returns tonight or not. I'm not sure if there's an update on that, but it still shows upper body injury for him. They need to get the scoring back in the lineup, but I'm going to lean to the under here, Andrew. I just think my same thoughts that I did with that last game regarding the Bruins is against the Rangers. 2 teams that aren't scoring a lot of goals. Good goalies. Allmark's good for Boston. Sorokin is good for the Islanders. I just don't see this one being lopsided for either team. This looks like one of those 2-1, 3-2 type of games. So I'm not gonna pick a side. I think you could flip a coin and do better than what I would pick in this game, because I think it is a coin toss. So I'm going to take the under. Brian?
I have no problem with that. I'm in agreement, but I think, the Islanders opened up a 125 favorite. I didn't have any interest, but now money's coming in on Boston. Maybe they've got some information that they're getting somebody back tonight. But I'm not sure I want to bet on Boston. Look at what they've done in the month of February offensively. Against Seattle at home, they score three. Against Pittsburgh, they score two. Against Carolina, they're shut out. They go on the road to Ottawa, only score two. In overtime against the Rangers, they only score one. So this Boston offense right now is really struggling, which would point you towards the under here. And the Islanders are a team that don't score a lot anyway. Although I am a little concerned about the Islanders' defense lately. They gave up 5 to Calgary, gave up 6 to Buffalo last game. So they're in a little slump defensively, but I think they're finding a little bit of value here on the Islanders. I'm not going out looking to bet either Boston or the Islanders right now. I think they're both a little bit overrated. But if this line continues to go up, it may be worth some value on the Islanders. And as for a total perspective, the only way I could look in this game is the under. I think you're like at 5.5 minus 130 right now. But the way Boston's scoring right now and the Islanders have not put up a lot of goals, that'd be the only way I would look in this. Slightly into the Islanders, slightly into the under. Can't argue with your opinion in that regard.
Yeah, I like the under with you guys. Definitely agree with that. Hats off to you, Carm, for that under in the Rangers versus Bruins game. Can't ask for anything better than a 1-1 game goes to overtime
Nope.
when you have an under, man. So hats off to you on that. Let's jump right into best bets. And usually I go to the crew first, but I'll go to myself. We talked about this game, so I'll just kind of finish my thoughts or finish off the thoughts on that game. So as far as the Bruins and Islanders, guys, you guys know that I have been down the Bruins. They were a sell in my buy and sell segment. I faded them in my best bet segment 2 days ago when I backed the Rangers. I said the Bruins have a depth problem right now, but I'm honestly more worried about the Islanders in this spot than I am about the Bruins. Patrice Bergeron returns tonight, the captain of the Bruins. And I always say that in hockey, one player does not make a team, but getting your captain back is huge. I believe the wake-up call happens tonight for the Boston Bruins and against a team that is so low scoring as well, like the Islanders, kind of struggling, and they're giving up goals too. I think this is a good game for the Bruins to get right and bounce back. Am I back on the Bruins train, and do I think they're a great team all of a sudden again? No, guys. I'm still selling the Bruins. I still don't like this team, but I think they can beat the Islanders tonight and regroup and get it together here. I feel like they'll get that scoring touch back tonight. I think it actually is huge getting Patrice Bergeron into the lineup, slotting back in. And don't forget, again, he is the captain of this team. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, obviously missed on the 5% play, but it's still been an outstanding NHL season. I will have a big package up today. It's a big Thursday card in the NHL. You guys know the drill. Totals, sides, props, you name it. We'll have it all. That's it for my best bet. Bruins on the money line. I'll go to you, Brian. And before I do go to you, I just want to give you a chance and just hype it up for a second for that outstanding college basketball and hockey package. For you guys out there that buy daily picks, if you buy a pick just one day from Brian for a week, or you buy a 7-day, if you like what Brian's doing, and you should because he's making money, buy this package. I'm not trying to be a salesman. I'm trying to let you guys know, don't buy just one pick. Don't buy just a week. Get that great combo package from Brian and Dave, and it's a great one. Combining two sports. And I think those packages are sometimes the best ones because you get variety. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, Brian, so you didn't have to. What else do you have up for grabs, and what's your best bet for today?
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've decided to, there's certain sports that I've been struggling in, so I haven't been putting many of them out. If you've bought my Super Bowl, you got a play in the first half, I believe. I believe I pushed in the first half, and then I had a free play on the game. I didn't do a lot with the props, but I'm sticking with what's been working. NBA's been working, but I haven't put out many. I believe we're 10-4 in that regard. Number 2 in college basketball in the season. Number 1 in hockey as of today. I know, Andrew, you'll be back up there again tomorrow, I'm sure. But yeah, it's been a great package. Right now we've got my past college basketball, Dave's hockey up, as you saw on the advertisement coming into the show. Number one in hockey right now, number two in college basketball. Got a huge card up for today. Been very good in these big cards. I got 3 hockey up for today. It's a 3-game package. I also have an 8-game package in college basketball, also for 29. Or just get all the plays today for 39. In fact, get 3 days for 59. Get a week for whatever that is. I mean, just order for more than the small sample size, because to be totally honest with you, you mentioned you're a loser in a 5%. I had Oregon State in college basketball a couple of days ago in a 5%. They lose the game by 20. It was an ugly play. It happened, unfortunately, and that was a Tuesday play too. So I had a lot of people buy that play, and that's all they bought. And ugly play, and I apologize for that. Just a bad handicapping on my part there. But from a red hot standpoint, we've been red hot in just about everything all year. It's been a tremendous year for us, and big card today. So run out and get that. It's been a really nice bargain. I'm going to go back in hockey today and talk about the Washington game against Philadelphia. I've had really good luck at going against Philadelphia since I've been handicapping hockey, and it's happened once again this year. Got a Washington team. We take a look at expected goals, 6 or on 5-on-5 this year. You've got a 1.17 goal advantage between these two teams playing on 5-on-5. You know how good Washington traditionally is on their special teams, how bad Philadelphia is. That's an added bonus here. And you've got Washington coming out of the break now. I think they're going to go on a nice run to lay only 175 with a team that's got a 1.17 advantage in goals. You don't see that. It's usually about a 250, 300 in that regard. So we'll lay the 175 here with Washington. And once again, this Philadelphia Flyers team that I want no part of.
Fade the Flyers. I love it. It's profitable and we'll continue to do it. Great to have you on the show as always, Brian. And speaking of red hot, that is what Carmine Bianco is with 5% soccer plays. He has one up for this afternoon. If you don't believe me, grab the play today. Check the records over the past 4 or 5 years for Carm. Proven winner with the 5% soccer plays. I know I'll be on it. Will you guys? Check it out at WagerTalk.com. Carm, what's up, man? What's going on today besides that play?
Yeah, a couple plays in NHL. I'm going to have some other soccer plays that I'm going to add. If you already bought the 5% play, check the analysis section of that play in the next hour. I'm going to list in that analysis play all the other games that I am on that won't be available for sale. So I'm just going to put the names in there of the teams that I'm on, so you get what else I've got going. Before I get into the best bet segment, I'm going to do a Bianco public service announcement here on the show, because you heard me what I said at the beginning as far as our chat goes. I don't want to acknowledge the negative stuff. And by negative, I'm talking about stuff that does not belong in our chat, whether it's anything racist related, homophobic, or what have you. The guys in our chat are absolutely fantastic. I want to acknowledge the positives. You got guys like Elliot, Zach, Brian, Kerry, Daniel, Chuck, Truman, Jeffrey. A ton of you guys comment every single day on this show, 5 days a week. We get the comments after the video is posted. Great comments from guys saying what they like. I want to acknowledge the positives more than the negatives. Listen, it's a the chat is free. Say what you want to say. Keep that other stuff out of it. We're not saying don't post anything negative. I go 3-0 tomorrow, and you want to come into the chat and say, "Yeah, Uncle, you suck." I'm fine with that because I did. I went 0-3. That is completely different than some of the stuff that was posted that we had to delete. But I wanted to acknowledge the guys and girls in the chat. You guys are fantastic with what you do. We love you. We have. I still think everyone in our chat, we have the best show of all the Wager Talk shows. I'm going to say it. We're better than every other show, hands down. And I know Prez isn't watching, or else he would jump in and go with his blah blah blah. I'm 72 years old, whatever. Anyways, with that said, let me get into my best bet for the show. I am going to go to the St. Louis and Montreal game. I am going to take the over 6 in this game. The Blues have scored 5 in their last couple of games. They're scoring goals. A coaching change in Montreal didn't help, but I actually like Marty St. Louis, and how ironic that Marty St. Louis could get his first win tonight against St. Louis. That would be a bit of a blast at plus 220 or 225. The Habs are 6-1 to the over their last 7 games at home. I'm going to go over the total of 6 in tonight's game. And if Marty St. Louis gets his first win as a Montreal coach, all the best to him.
All right, over 6, Blues and Canadians for Carmine and Bianco. We've got Brian Leonard looking at the Capitals on the money line, and I've got the Boston Bruins on the money line here. Guys, great show. Lots of information, lots of great games to discuss, some awesome bets as well. As Carmine mentioned, all 3 of us really do appreciate you guys for watching this show. Hit the like button, show some love, and we'll see you tomorrow for Friday's episode of Puck Time.
Football season is over, and as we turn our attention to the ice and hardwood, what better 2 handicappers to bet along with than Dave Koken in the NHL and Brian Leonard in college basketball? Up 128% in profit, that is a combined bankroll increase from Brian Leonard at 70% in college basketball and Dave Koken 58% in the NHL this season. For a limited time, we have a special offer to lock in Brian's college hoops through the Final Four and National Championship and Dave's NHL through the Stanley Cup in June for only $4.79. This special price locks in 2 handicappers, 2 sports, through the championship in both sports for $209, less than buying each season individually, and $1,000 less than purchasing daily packages from now through June.